The Auburn Tigers have got their quarterback for the 2023 season, or so it would seem, with Payton Thorne committing from Michigan State. What are they getting in Payton Thorne? What does he bring to the table? We turned on the tape and said, what does he do well? What does he not do so well? How does he fit in this scheme? This is a big get for Hugh, and I said this on the commitment video for Payton Thorne. With Payton Thorne, not a whole lot of guessing, and you like that with who is potentially / probably going to be your starting quarterback for this season. Over 6,000 yards passing on the career, 49 touchdowns in the career. He's played the position at a relatively high level in a really good conference in the Big Ten. So what are some things that he does well? One of the things that jumps off the tape to me is he's a really quick processor. Like, the game doesn't move too quickly for him. He knows what he's looking at, gets to where he's going with the football quickly, and that's important for Auburn. So, well, why is that important for Auburn, JD? Because they have 3 transfers that are likely going to start on the offensive line. Translation, they weren't too great on the offensive line a season ago. That's why you go to the portal and get some new talent. So you feel better about the talent on the offensive line, but are we 100% sure there won't be a couple of hiccups, a couple of growing pains in the trenches? You hope it's buttoned up, but I think there's the potential for there still to be some issues. I think it's better offensive line, but again, maybe some growing pains working in 3 new starters. So why is that important then for Payton Thorne to be a quick processor? As an offensive line, maybe you don't have to block for 3.5 seconds and really hold your block for a long period of time. Payton Thorne's going to know what he's looking at, go from 1 to 2, balls out. One thing that I loved about him when I was watching him on tape, whenever he was getting blitzed, he knew where his safety valve was. He knew where his check down was. Linebacker coming free up the middle, check down. Bootleg, someone's in my lap right away, check down. I know where to go with the ball. So as a whole, this should just help Auburn be able to stay ahead of the sticks. Instead of living in 3rd and 14 because you got sacked, you're living in like 2nd and 6, 2nd and 7 because you got rid of the football for, at the very least, a minimal gain. So that's exciting. Quick processor, knows what he's looking at. And in the RPO scheme, I'm telling you, it happens very quickly. The running back and the quarterback have a mesh. You're reading one guy, more likely than not the linebacker, and you have a split second to either hand the ball off or get rid of the football. And that happens really quickly. So the processing of Payton Thorne, I think that's a benefit to Auburn. I think that's one of the key attributes in his game. I think that'll pay dividends for Hugh and Philip Montgomery in their offense. Auburn fans, you got your quarterback of the future. I told you, I think he's going to start for you in 2023. Make sure you're subscribed right here. We talk college football here every single day. You're a junkie for this sport. We're junkies for this sport. Lock in. You found your home for all things college football. Also, follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram at JDPakel. A great medium for us to hear from you. Appreciate it in advance. All right. Another thing that I like about Payton Thorne. Is he Lamar Jackson when he runs the football? No. But I think there's a lot of utility for what he is as an athlete. He's not going to tuck it and run for 100 yards a game. I don't know that you're calling a bunch of quarterback design runs for Payton Thorne, but still, whenever the defense preps during the week, when they play Auburn and Payton Thorne's playing quarterback, you have to account for him. You have to account for him, because if you fall asleep at the wheel and you drop too many guys and you don't have anybody ready to rush the pass or nobody accounted for Payton Thorne, he's going to make you pay. He's that kind of an athlete. When I say there's a lot of utility around Payton Thorne, he's not scrambling to run. He's extending plays to get the ball to playmakers. Payton Thorne, from watching his tape, understands we have a better chance to be successful as an offense if I get the ball to my receivers or my running backs, the guys who are supposed to have the football. If I need to, I can run the ball. But more often than not, I want to escape pressure, escape the rush, and be able to get the ball to who it needs to get to. And so him being able to extend plays with what Auburn's trying to work in on the offensive line, again, another benefit to his game. The way that I look at Payton Thorne, the analogy that comes to mind when I watch him extend plays, it's like having a point guard who can dribble out of trouble and then hit the mid-range if you need him to. He's not getting to the rack and slamming it down. He's not hitting the three-point shot, but he can hit the mid-range. He can get the ball to shooters. He can get the ball to the big men. That's what Payton Thorne needs to do for this offense to be successful, and I like the fact that I saw a lot of that from him when he was at Michigan State. Now, also, Payton Thorne does a really good job of throwing guys open. What does that mean? Throwing somebody open essentially is, hey, listen, the guy's probably covered, more likely than not in man coverage. You put the ball only where your receiver can get it. he wasn't open until you threw that pass and allowed him to be open. I'm talking back shoulder pass. I'm talking the stop route on the deep pass just under the defensive back. Your receiver comes back to it. That's what Payton Thorne did really well at Michigan State, a lot with Keon Coleman. Big body wide receiver, also in the transfer portal, 6'4", 215 pounds. I don't know that Auburn has someone that's Keon Coleman's caliber right now on this roster that we've seen, prove it at least. But there's a lot of big body pass catchers. Nick Mardner, about 6'6". Camden Brown, 6'2", 6'3". Rivaldo Fairweather, he's a big body at tight end. So all three of these guys are guys that need to see the football at Auburn. And you would hope that the experience Payton Thorne has at Michigan State with throwing to big body wide receivers, he's able then to work in with these guys with relative ease. I'll still have to get together after practice and put the reps in to make it happen, but I'm excited about what these guys could be with Payton Thorne now playing quarterback for Auburn. Because Auburn, they still need some guys to pop the top on the defense. You still want a speed burner to stretch the field, but when I look at this receiver room, I'm looking at those three guys and saying, hey, they need to see the football. Coy Moore also needs to see the football, another 6-foot-plus guy. So his experience and acumen with throwing to big body wide receivers, if I'm an Auburn fan, that encourages me. That encourages me. So those are the things he does well. Good athlete, throws guys open, quick processor of what the defense presents to him. I love that about him. So with that being said, there's also some things that I think he has room to improve upon. And I don't know that you really can improve upon this, but his arm strength I don't think is like drop back 5 steps in a hitch and throw the ball 80 yards. It's not his game. Okay? His arm strength is good. I don't know that it's elite. He's not going to have problems hitting guys that are open downfield, but he's not going to be a guy that's, necessarily making those safeties backpedal an extra 10 to 15 yards because of what he's going to do throwing deep. Now, the good news for Auburn fans, that's not Hugh Freeze's offense either. It's not the way that Philip Montgomery is going to call this offense. It's not going to be a thing where we're pro style, everybody go deep, 4 verts, let's make it happen. It's going to be efficient, be accurate with the football, put the ball where it needs to go. We're going to go up tempo, we're going to run the football, and that's going to be how we live. Be a quick processor. So you wish he had a more arm strength, I suppose. But again, I don't think that's necessarily what you require to be successful at Auburn. It's not going to be the kind of game they play. The other thing that stuck out when I watched Payton Thorne, and really when you look at the box score for what he did the last 2 years as a starter at Michigan State, the last 2 years, Payton Thorne has a completion percentage of 60%, which is good, but he also has back-to-back years with double-digit interceptions. The way that I look at this with Payton Thorne, it's a kid that has a really good grade in your class. Okay, 60% completion percentage, we're living in like the B+, A- range, right? Not on a test, but just relative to what a quarterback would do, okay? The interceptions to me are like we're showing up and we're just taking zeros on the homework every couple of days. It's not great. You're still, you know the kid has it. He's proven he knows where to go with the football. He's proven he's accurate, but there's just a couple games, a couple of plays where you just say, where did that come from? That's not you. You're better than that. So for Payton Thorne, I think that's something that he can grow in. I think that's something that Hugh Freeze and Philip Montgomery will help develop him in. And I'll say this too. I think Payton Thorne's best football is still very much so ahead of him. Potentially has 2 years available to him at Auburn. I think this scheme fits him much better than what they did at Michigan State. For the reasons I already told you. It's going to be RPO, process the defense quickly, ball out of your hands, get it to our playmakers. If you need to extend plays with your feet, do that. We can call some zone read stuff for you. Like the fit to me schematically with Payton Thorne's skill set, I think will allow him to be better than what we saw at Michigan State, transparently. So probably the biggest factor that gets me excited if I'm an Auburn fan for Payton Thorne, he is a 2-year captain coming from Michigan State. Translation, guys want to follow him. He's a born leader. You're not a 2-year captain if you're not. And for Auburn right now, they're in a state of flux, if you ask me. First-year staff, a lot of guys transferring out, a lot of guys transferring in. I think Payton Thorne's leadership ability is crucial because it allows Auburn to have, 1, somebody to follow, and then 2, a direction. When your quarterback's the leader for your locker room, I promise you good things happen. It's a very visible position. It's a position that you're going to be looked to be a leader regardless of the caliber of leader you are. So the fact that Payton Thorne has that ability and the fact that Auburn's in this state of trying to get this whole new era started under Coach Freeze, I'm excited for that. I think it's a really, really good fit. So for Payton Thorne, I think there will be somewhat of a battle when it comes to fall camp. Robbie Ashford got me fired up, tweeting out, hey, iron sharpens iron. Let's get it, War Eagle. That's a program guy if I ever saw one. So Robbie Ashford, I promise you he will fight tooth and nail to push Payton Thorne. I think Payton Thorne will then push him. The best guy will play. But again, I do believe Payton Thorne will be your starter at Auburn for game 1 of the 2023 season. I think his best ball is ahead of him. I like the fit. Hugh Freeze has got his quarterback. Keep it locked right here. We talk college football every single day on the Hard Count on this wonderful platform that is the On3 YouTube channel. Auburn fans, we're not done talking about Payton Thorne. We're not done talking about your Tigers. Make sure you lock in right here, all right? Nick Brake, lifting heavy. This is your show. We appreciate y'all, man. We love y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of the Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.